Welcome back to Radio Caroline. It's Josh Holmes-Bright here, and today I'm joined by a legendary soul singer who was part of the Icettes, had a strand of hit singles like Angel of the Morning and The First Cut is the Deepest, and continues to shine today, having just released her autobiography and with some new music out as well. It's PP Arnold. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Josh. I'm really good.
Good.
Like I was saying earlier, no rest for the blessed.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounded like you've
Going
got a
man
packed schedule.
busy, lots going on. Yeah, is this the same Radio Caroline from back in the day?
It is. It's the one and only. Yeah, still going
Wow,
today.
fantastic. I remember doing it loads in the 60s.
Oh,
And
really?
I remember one special with Tony Blackburn. I went out in the tugboat. You
Uh-huh.
would go out, and I'd never been on a boat before.
Oh, really?
So when I got to the Radio Caroline ship, I was so ill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was so sick. And so so they put me in Tony Blackburn's uh, room, and I was like sick all over
Oh
his
no. Oh
room. I
God.
know.
Oh dear.
I was so seasick, but it was great. He was a good sport about it. And, after recovering, I had a good time. Always had a good time at Radio Caroline.
That's fantastic. Wow. Well, there's the
Yeah.
clip for the interview then. There's the clip to promote the interview. I wasn't expecting that to start off. But oh, what did you I want to talk about that a bit more first of all. What did you do with Tony Blackburn then? Were you on his show?
Yeah, I was on a show. I went there. You in those days you would go out to the boat to do the interviews
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
So yeah, I was there to do an interview, and I had just never been at sea on a boat at all, and I was so seasick. So Tony was great. Like I had like worked with him throughout the 60s.
Yeah.
All those times.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he loved the soul music and
Oh
that kind
yeah,
of
he was the king of soul.
yeah, yeah.
Soul music at Radio Caroline. Yes.
Wow.
I think he still is. He's still DJing, isn't he?
Yeah, not with us, unfortunately, not with us. But
Yeah, I know he's not with you, but I'm trying to think, who is he with now?
Radio 2, BBC Radio 2 he's with.
Oh, I
Yeah.
need to hook up with him then, because my new single Soul Survivor has been playlisted for the second week
Yes, I
on
saw.
Radio
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. And it's going up the retro charts. I think it's number 14 this week.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow. And
yeah,
it's a
so
featured track here at Radio Caroline as well, one of our featured
is it
tracks. Yeah, it is.
fantastic?
There
Thank
we
you so
go.
much.
That's all right. No. We'll
So,
talk about all the new stuff sort of in a bit, but I think it makes sense if we start right at the beginning, I think. So we will come on to
okay.
that. I'm really excited to talk about the new stuff, but right at the beginning, I've done a bit of research. And is it right that you were 4 years old when you performed for the first time as like a solo vocalist? Is that right?
I really did. I sang, "We are soldiers, put 'em
Brilliant.
in the army. Da-da. We have to fight, dun dun, although we have to cry, dun 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 dun. We have to hold up the blood-stained banner, boom boom. We have to hold it up until we die. Yeah, that was my first solo. That was my And I love it.
Fantastic.
I was so little, and the verse goes, "My mother was a soldier. She had her hands on gospel plow." And when I did that, everybody in the church started shouting.
Yeah.
And it made me so excited. And that made me realize the fact that I could, when you shout in church, in the Baptist church, that means you're happy.
Yeah, I
So
bet.
so from that time on, every time I sang, I always was trying to hit that thing that would make people happy. And
Yeah.
that's what I still try to do.
Good.
inspire and uplift.
That's fantastic. That's what it should be about. That's what it's about.
I think so. I'm not into celebrity so much. I like to think of myself more of a healer,
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to go
because
about
it's
it.
a gift. It's a gift. I'm a natural singer. It's a gift. I never planned to be in this industry. A prayer put me here.
Yeah.
A prayer to change my life the way it was. At the time, I was a young girl in an abusive teen marriage, and I said a prayer and asked God to show me the way out. I had never ever even dreamed of being a singer or being in show business, and I said this prayer, and then 2 hours later, I got this phone call, and an hour after that, I was in Ike Tina Turner's living room singing "Dancing in the Streets."
Wow. Wow. Was that your first big break then? The Argentina
Well,
Turner
that was
career?
my first time doing anything. It wasn't like a break. I wasn't doing it for me.
Mm.
I actually went to help my friends. It was their audition. And they were desperate because the girl that was supposed to go with them didn't show up, right?
All right.
So the girl Maxine Smith, who was a singer, and Gloria Scott, you might know of Gloria Scott. She's quite a well-known soul singer.
Hmm.
Well, they were going. Gloria used to be. Ike Tina had two sets of Ikettes. So Gloria was in the set that would go on tour with the Dick Clark show. So she knew that the Ikettes with the Revue were leaving, so she wanted that gig. And Maxine was an ex-girlfriend of my brother's. So she knew that I sang because I sang in church from, like you say, from 4 years old.
Mm.
So they were desperate. So they just called me out of desperation. And so I go like, I can't go. My husband's not going to let me go. And they go, tell him anything. We're coming to get you.
Excellent.
And they did. And they were at my door. So I lied and told my husband I was going to the shops. And I was really tacky and everything. I wasn't dressed for the occasion at
Right.
all. And so, yeah, we did it. We sang Dancing in the Street, and another song that Dancing in the Tree.
I've not
we
heard of that
sang
one.
dancing, we sing Dancing in the Street, and another song that Gloria was singing, and I just sort of like jumped on the harmony, right?
Mm.
And Tina goes, right, girls, you got the gig.
Oh,
And I
wow.
go like, oh no, not me. I can't go. I'm in big trouble. I said, my husband doesn't know where I am. I should have been home 2 hours ago. I have 2 young children, and I got to get home. I'm going to be in big trouble. My husband's going to kick my butt. So Tina goes, well, if you're going to get your butt kicked for nothing, why don't you ride up to Fresno with us and at least see the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounded like a good idea to me, and I was under her spell, this beautiful goddess woman that God had sent as an
Mm.
answer to my prayer. And so, yeah, I was in trouble, and I never got a chance to have fun or do anything or go anywhere. So I went to Fresno, and then 24 hours later, after a lot of things went down, which you can read about in my book,
Hmm.
Soul Survivor, it opens up with that chapter,
Oh,
actually.
really?
And the chapter is called Mysterious Ways.
Okay. Okay.
God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
And that opened the door to 24 hours after a lot went on. I was an ICAT. That was the beginning of my career.
That's fantastic. What a way to start off as well. Were you in sort of, were
What a
you in,
blessing.
well, yeah, of course. Were you in
But it
all?
wasn't easy. It wasn't just like glamour after that. It was a lot of hard work and
Yeah.
a whole lot of things. I was a young girl, and I was like, I had no idea of the world, even though I was married and I had these kids. I knew nothing about the world, and definitely not show business. And so I went on the road with Ike and Tina Turner. For 2 years, I toured with them on the Chitlin circuit. I don't know if
Right.
you've heard of the Chitlin circuit.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, the Chitlin Circuit is the was the circuit for all the black acts. You know, it was a black circuit that went all down south. You know, for the black community, because in those days everything was very segregated.
Hmm.
You know, so we didn't really play a lot of when we were in Hollywood and places like that, and sometimes we played universities where there would be white audiences, but of course Hollywood was more integrated and everything. But most of the shows we did were segregated shows in the South, and they call it the Chitlin circuits because chitlins were like a delicacy for black people.
Right.
It was
Okay.
it's like tripe. You guys have tripe here.
Hmm.
But chitlins, it was like the hog intestines. The tripe is the beef intestines, I think. Yeah.
I see. I see.
So in times of slavery, you know, that's what the masters, the slaves only got that part of you know, they got the what they thought was the worst part of the pig, and so they learned how to cook those chitlins, like make them a delicacy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the chitlin circuit and like all these shows that we would do in the South and everything, we would be working like these like really serious clubs, and they'd have restaurants and they'd be serving chitlins and barbecue ribs and catfish and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Chitlin circuit.
Fantastic. And you said it was two years with Ike and Tina Turner, and then was
I
it
was
right
in
after
two
that?
years, and it was, you know, we were on the road. We would go on the road for like 90 days, right?
Hmm.
We would do these 90-day tours, but we would only have about 3 or 4 days off. You know, it
Really?
wasn't like all glamorous like today. We would like be traveling in like old raggedy Greyhound buses, and you know, and in those days you couldn't just stay at any hotel.
Mm.
The Holiday Inn was the only hotel that we could really stay in, and then also in the different towns, the black communities, there were lots of, they had their own motels and things. I don't know. You know Joe Tex? You know of the soul singer
Yeah.
Joe Tex?
Yeah. Show
Well, you
me.
know that tune, Show Me the Way to Get to Soulville. Show me the way to get home. So
Yeah.
that's what that's about. You know, show me the way to get to Soulville. You know, you'd have somewhere you knew you could stay, and the food and the good food and the good clubs, you know, yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was during all of that time, you know, like all the civil rights revolution was going on.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
yeah, it was horrible. A lot of it, you know, what was going on. We couldn't stop at certain petrol stations and stuff, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was crazy.
A difficult
Crazy.
time.
And then we go, Tina uh, got the deal with Phil Spector to record River Deep Mountain High. And so the record was like a big deal for her because she was like really fed up with Ike. We all were pretty fed up with Ike,
Right.
really. And so Tina, River Deep Mountain High, that was supposed to be, she thought that would be her way to get out of like his control, because he would just like, you know, she could only sing the blues and R&B, which she was really great at doing.
Oh yeah.
But she wanted, you know, times were changing and she wanted to do more progressive things. She wanted to sing rock and roll, and she wanted to sing songs that had melodies and things. She wanted to get out of his control,
Yeah.
basically. So she recorded that. Phil Spector offered them a deal. Ike wasn't even allowed in the studio.
Oh really?
Uh, oh no! That was the deal, that Phil would produce Tina, and Ike could be nowhere near the studio, so he didn't let us. I'm not actually singing on River Deep Mountain High. I'm in the video, but Phil Spector, you know, because I controlled us, we
Yeah.
weren't allowed to go to the session, but Tina did. And of course, it was a great record, but it flopped in America because the white stations didn't play it because it was too black, and the black station didn't play it because it was too white.
Right.
So luckily, it was a big hit in the UK.
Yeah, it certainly
Yeah,
was. There you
yeah,
go.
it sure was. And so then we came to the UK. We came out of the Chitlin Circuit into the Royal Albert Hall.
Hmm.
That was
Fantastic.
our first gig with the Rolling Stones and
Wow. What a
Jeff
place to
Beck
start.
and Led Zeppelin and
Yeah, well, you mentioned the
oh,
Rolling
John
Stones.
Baldry.
You mentioned the Rolling Stones there. Was it Mick Jagger that actually convinced you to go solo in the end?
Yeah, he did. Mick, like it's really crazy, really, because I was this really shy, introverted, damaged young woman. And for me, singing with Ike and Tina, it was a job. It
Right.
was a way for me to get away from the situation that I was in and support my two young children. So, and I had never really been a teenager. And then suddenly we arrive in swinging London, right? At the middle, right in the middle of swinging London, out of the civil rights revolution into the rock and roll revolution of the UK, the pop, rock and
Yeah.
roll, everything was everything here. Everything. Radio One played in those days. They played everything. Black, white, blues, jazz, everything. It was no separation like it
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
today. And so Mick was funny, like he would come to our dressing rooms. He wanted to learn the routines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we sort of like we would come and we teach him how to do the pony, and as you know, he took the pony and ran with it.
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know he was
absolutely.
always doing his kind of Mick Jagger thing, but once he got the pony, that's when he started zooming back and forth across the stage.
That's
Yeah, so we
incredible.
became friends. He was really a really nice guy, very funny, used to make me laugh. His whole thing, he was trying to be like a black man, sound like a black man, walk like, he was cool.
Yeah.
He was cool, and he wanted to know about us. They would have the artists that they were influenced by so that they can learn about our culture. It was an exchange of cultures that went down, and so Mick and I became quite close, actually. And he Ian Stewart, who was Stone's road manager, it was Stu who put the thing out there to Andrew Oldham that Andrew Oldham should check me out. Because
Okay.
I was the lead singer of the Ikettes at the time, and I had been hanging out with Mick. After the gigs, we go to the discotheques and things. Well, I didn't like none of that.
Oh, really?
Oh no, but he had no control over me. I was not his woman. So he would like fine me for everything. So like if I had a run in my stocking or if I was 1 second late for rehearsal, and I was just really fed up with Ike, and I was really fed up with having to experience the abuse that Tina went through, because Tina saved me from my abusive life, and when I first joined them, I just thought she was just this woman who had everything. She was so beautiful and she was so much talent. She had all the great clothes and all the trappings,
Yeah.
but she was dealing with you know, she was dealing with that abuse out there on that road,
Yeah.
before gigs. We would be in the dressing room sometimes, like even before a gig, you know,
Yeah.
boom, I could come, she would just, change her clothes, fix her makeup, and go on stage and just
Smash it out the park.
smash it out the park. And people would know that she had been beat because she would have black eyes and everything. But wow,
Yeah.
that one was just absolutely amazing. I have the honor to do a tribute to her this weekend, and
Yeah.
singing "Proud Mary" and Nutbush at my age was definitely a challenge. But luckily I learned from the Tina Turner finishing school, I call it, because I didn't finish regular school.
Yeah.
I graduated from Tina Turner's finishing school.
There you
So,
go. Not many people can
and
say that.
and the girls from the show, they were doing all the routines. So I didn't have to do that because I had a bad knee anyway. I had messed up my knee, so I couldn't do all the Tina's routines, but I did sing the songs.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, there are so many incredible stories to mention, but of course, they're all written down in your book, which we'll mention in a moment.
They're
But
all in the book.
I think the one, if we're going to pick one out to focus on, which I
Okay.
think makes sense, is your first big hit. I think it's your first big hit. The first cut is the deepest. What was that? Was written by Cat Stevens, and what was it like to be handed that song? How did that happen?
It was just amazing how the whole thing happened. Like one day, like the Stones, they finished their part of the tour before we did. We stayed. So one day I get a call from Mick. He's inviting me to lunch. I go to lunch. He takes me for a walk in the park. He lived near Regent Park. We're walking in Regent Park. And, and he made me this proposition that if I was up for it, if I wanted to stay, that his manager, Andrew Oldham, wanted me to stay and sign to his. Andrew had like one of the first independent record labels that had just so many great artists on it. Fleetwood Mac, Small Faces, Amen Corner,
Yeah,
just so
yeah,
many people.
loads of
But
names.
they wanted a girl because Andrew was really into the whole West Coast, Phil Spector, like all of the wall of sound. Everybody was trying to create that wall of sound and that West Coast sound,
Yeah.
the girl sound like the Ronettes
Hmm.
and all of that. So I don't know. They just chose me because I really didn't have any. I just love to sing. I
Yeah.
never thought I was a great singer or not. I just love to sing, and it was an opportunity for me to save myself. And so they asked me to stay, and I had never ever thought about going solo. But once again, destiny
Yeah.
knocked on the door, and I said yeah, and I stayed. And so we used to have these brainstorming sessions. Like in those days, all the publishers would send their songs to management, to the managers, and then they would distribute it through to the artists. So we used to get all the songs, and I would go in the office, and on this particular day it was like Andrew Oldham, Garrett Mankiewicz was there. Garrett is one, he's the culprit responsible for me being called PP Arnold, actually.
All right.
And
Okay.
yeah. And I was like so naive because I had never thought about being a solo artist. So I didn't never even thought about having a show business name.
Mm.
But in those days, it was like BB King, O.C. Smith, all of that. So Garrett thought it would be cute because I was a little girl with the big voice, that if they like P.P. Arnold.
Yeah.
And I picked the Arnold because that was my kid's name. I wish I had to use my maiden name, Patricia Ann Cole. That's what I should have done.
Right.
But P.P. Arnold, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was it. And so anyway, Mike Hurst, who produced Cat Stevens,
Hmm.
came to one of these brainstorming sessions and presented this song, First Cut is the Deepest. And for me, it was the story of my life.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so it was like I had been through all that abuse and everything, and it was as if he had wrote that song for me,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
And
amazing.
so another gift from God, you know, this beautiful song that opened up the doors, because my mother, when I stayed, you know, I had two kids, so my mother agreed, look, you stay and see what happens. I'll keep the kids, but in 6 months' time, you know, if nothing happens, you come home.
Yeah.
And I said, in 6 months' time, if something happened, I would come home and get my kids. So First Cut is the Deepest was a big hit in,
Yeah.
you know, almost less than 6 months.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very emotional track. And from your first
Oh,
to your most recent, Soul Survivor, it's got the same name as the autobiography. Is the music now still as does it still mean as much to you now as it did then with that first track? Obviously, you spoke about how much that meant.
absolutely. It really, really, really does. And I am so excited about these times. And I am so happy that I've invested in my health and fitness, and that I'm here to represent, you know, those times. I love my music. You know, what a blessing to have so many wonderful songs, real songs, and songs like First Cut and Angel of the Morning. I've sung them thousands of times, and I never get tired of singing them. And I always, you know, they're always emotional for me, because
Yeah.
I'm a singer who, as a singer, I'm supposed to tell stories, you know. So those stories, and because that First Cut especially is so connected to my life,
Hmm.
you know, and surviving my life as a surviving as a woman and as a mother, and you know, even more so, you know, so it's still very emotional to me,
Oh yeah.
you know, because you know, I've been through a lot. My career has been up and down and all around, and a lot
Mhm.
of tragedies and stuff. And my daughter Debbie, who my oldest son, and Kevin and Debbie, I lost my daughter in a car accident
Oh God.
when she was 13. So, you know, they're all a part of my journey. You know, my journey was not just about me. My journey was about me and my journey with my children.
Yeah.
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 So
And is that what Soul Survivor is about then? Everything you've mentioned
Soul
there.
Survivor is about surviving life. It's about surviving everything. It's about surviving 6 decades in the music industry. You,
Fantastic. 6 decades.
yeah, nearly. And next year, 2024, it'll be 60 years.
Wow.
And yeah, so yeah, Soul Survivor. I actually wrote the book in about 1994.
Oh,
I
really?
wrote my book, but I lost it. The first, you know, writing, I was like transferring everything from Time Machine to a portable disc, and I
Hmm.
lost it, you
Really?
know. So I had to write it all over again.
Oh no.
God works in mysterious ways. And I decided to, at the time, I was doing a lot of ancestry work. And so I decided to, everyone's always wants to know about the roots of the music, of soul music and everything. So I decided to take it all the way back to the plantation, you know, because I had like discovered my great granddad Mauser Hawkins, who I never knew anything about. My parents, they didn't tell us about these people,
Mm.
but I had did the ancestry work, and I was able to track them. There were records of these souls, of this bloodline of mine, and where it all came from. So I took it there, and of course, like the importance of that music to the slaves during slavery, surviving,
Yeah.
getting away from everything, so yeah, so that, and then, coming more to my grandparents who I knew, and who had told me a little bit. My grandmother had told me bits about her mother and everything that she could remember.
Yeah.
And she lost her mother when she was really young, but she remembered that, she was an Indian woman. She had long hair that she could sit on. That's what
Oh,
my
wow.
grandmother used to tell me. Yeah. And so, yeah, so then my parents, of course, I know their whole East Texas, all the East Texas, all the family stuff and all of that. And, migrating from Texas to LA, getting out of the South and all the Jim Crow stuff. So anyway, yeah, see, I get carried away because I'll go back to all of that.
No, that's
And
good.
so, yeah, so I wrote the book. So it's a good thing it was about my life, or else I would have been in big trouble. But when I rewrote the book, because I never thought about writing a book, really. I just sat down and started. It was during a time in the 90s where things were like really kind of slow for me, and I didn't really know what was going to happen. I've been through this bankruptcy, and I had just met like Ocean Color Scene and all of those
Oh, yeah.
guys. And those are the guys who like really saved me. Really, their appreciation of all of those guys. The Ocean Color Scene, Steve Craddock especially, that's my baby, and my relationship, my relationship with Steve and OCS is connected through Steve Marriott,
Okay.
because they're such fans of all the stuff that we did, all the immediate stuff, and then the small faces started getting the respect that they hadn't been getting in the music, and they weren't getting there. So we did the tribute to the small faces for Ronnie Lane, who wasn't well at the time, and so that's how I met all those other guys. Primal Scream, I
Yeah.
did that track with them. Um, Okay, well, let's see. I gotta slow down. What what's the Primal Scream track that I did? When people ask me what love's all about, one thing I say, you gotta do this thing with feeling. No, just oh shit, I can't think of the name of the song. But anyway, I did it with the Primal Scream.
Yeah.
I got too much going on. That's another thing that happens with me, because I have so much going on right now. And then I got all this stuff, all these memories that are still so fresh in my mind from the past. And with the book being out and talking about all of that again, it's like my brain is just full.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet
And
it is.
and there's so many great things. So like, yeah, so we were talking about Soul Survivor. So anyway, so the book didn't come out during lockdown. I received a call from Pete Selby of 9-8 Books, and he said that he had heard that I had written a book, which I had, and I hadn't. I had been approached by a few people about my book, but it seemed like I said no to other people because they weren't really as interested in me as they were in the people that are in my book.
Right. Okay.
Like all the rock and roll,
Yeah.
high echelon that were my mates and my friends, but they were like all the knights of the realm, we could say. And Tina had blown up. They were more interested in that. They weren't really interested in my story, and so Pete Selby called and asked me if I would send him something. So I sent him about 10 chapters, right? boom, he got right back to me, and he wanted to know if he could read some more. So I sent him some more. And then he wanted to know, then he came right back and he goes like, can I read the whole book? So
Wow.
he goes like, if I like it, I'll make you an offer. And he came back, he read the whole book, and he just got it. He got it. He got me, and the whole thing. And so yeah, so I got the deal in lockdown.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
And I suppose
yeah,
that's the most important thing for you, isn't it? Not that obviously you want to get a bit of money out of it, but really it's telling your story and finding people who'll be able to relate to that story and get something
yeah,
from it.
exactly. And so I was able to do that and get a pretty nice advance as well.
Well, there you
You
go.
know,
An added
it
bonus.
was win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. That's fantastic. And have we got any more new music to look forward to? I
Yes,
don't know how
we
much you
do.
can say.
Soul Survivor has been produced by the Metrophonic team. Brian Rawlins, I don't know if you know Patrick Mescal and Mark Taylor. These guys, they're like Cher's producers, right?
All
So
right.
like last year, I don't know if you know about the Christmas record I had out.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. So they produced my Christmas record. So basically, my solicitor was a friend of Brian Rawlins and those guys who produce Cher. So the It Won't Be Christmas Without You was supposed to be for Cher.
All
But
right.
Cher was doing something else at the time. So they asked me if I would do it. So I go like, sure, because I really
Absolutely.
liked it, real kind of 60s track and everything was really kind of down my alley. So we did it, and it went to number one in the Heritage chart
Yeah.
for 1 week. Cliff knocked me off my pedestal,
Ah.
but he knocks everybody off at Christmas.
That's true. At Christmas time, it's yeah.
But for me, it was just like so great. And so these guys, they were really knocked out that there was so much love for me out there,
Yeah.
because that's what I'm getting. There's just like so much love, I'm gonna start getting emotional.
No. Well,
Yeah,
no, you're right. There is, and I mean, with that
that
Christmas track and the new one, Soul Survivors, you mentioned earlier,
yeah, and
doing
Soul
incredibly
Survivor.
well.
So we started, because that went so well, we started doing the album, recording this album. So the album is really, really great. I'm doing a couple of great so far. I have two really cool duets are on it.
Okay.
Jim Morrison and I have done a duet, a first cut that is just like epic.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be doing a track with the Mod Father. The Mod Father and the Mod Mother are gonna do something special. And
Brilliant.
so Soul Survivor, I wrote this song way back in the 80s.
Oh,
And
really?
I wrote the verses, everything. It used to have a different hook. It had a different hook, but it was just really funny. I was meeting these guys, and we were gonna get together and start, I'm bringing stuff to the table. There. So I had this tune, but the night before I met them, my spirit told me to change the hook to Soul Survivor,
Okay.
which I did, and they loved it. And then we worked together on really making that hook just mega, and it's really turned out well. So I'm really excited. You guys are playing my record. You're
Yeah.
playing. I'm on the Radio 2 playlist, and it's gone up to number 14 in the Heritage charts. It's only been out 3 weeks. So I'm in the charts with Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm back on track,
It's brilliant.
And I've been doing gigs. I got a great band. So I've been doing lots of shows this year up north, really opening up all those territories that I haven't been able to perform in. Yeah, just really touring. I just did, Jules Holland just gave me an award, the Boysdale Award for best female artist of 2023.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, about 4 weeks ago, they presented me with this award. And so I'm going to be doing Hootenanny this year
Wow.
on Lady with Jewels. I'm going to be doing a couple of songs on there. So that's really cool. And so anyway, getting back to like 2019, when the New Adventures album came out, that Steve
Mm.
Craddock produced, that Paul Weller the Specials and a lot of other great musicians are playing on. We recorded a live concert in Liverpool.
Right.
So the Live in Liverpool album is coming out, and it is jamming. It's
I bet it
really,
is.
really, really cool. I'm so happy with that. Me and Steve, that's just we do great work together. We just click.
Yeah.
And because he gets me, like, I don't try to like go out and be all modern. I can do anything. I can sing the phone book, right? But I know where I'm who
Yeah.
I am.
Where you want to be. Yeah. Who you are.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
know who I am. And I think that the music that I sing is really important,
Yeah.
and I think as an elder out here, it's my job to keep the music alive, to
Sure.
keep these times alive. And my concerts have been great. All my fans who have been so loyal and supportive on my social medias and stuff. And now there's lots of young kids coming to my gigs, and I really wanted that, because I was thinking I think that there's a whole young retro audience
Yeah.
that are not aware of PP, so. But now it seems like they're getting aware and they're showing up at my gigs and
Yeah.
everything. So that's really, really, really cool. Yeah, and I'm just kind of really having a good time. So we're going to the album that I'm recording with Patrick Mescal and Mark Taylor, that's going to be released in the fall. So
Okay.
we got all kinds of stuff happening. I've got a box set coming out
Oh, wow.
with lots of music, unreleased tracks that were never released, that independent productions with myself and Chaz Jankel,
Mm-hmm.
which are like very, very cool. That's some really cool stuff there. That's some really nice jazz, funky kind of, really, because Chaz,
Mm.
he is funky.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
boy,
Yeah.
he's a bad boy. And so I'm really pleased that we recorded that stuff in 1992. Nobody wanted to know about it, because they were saying that we were too old. It was a whole ageism thing. Nobody was interested in either of us, really.
Oh.
So we got all these tracks. So a lot of those tracks are on it. And then I also did some independent stuff with Dr. Robert of the Blow Monkeys.
Yeah.
So some of those tracks that Robert and I did from the 5 in the Afternoon album that we recorded in Spain, because I've actually lived in Spain for the last 22 years.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, wow.
Robert lives there as well, and we met and we did an album there. And so that's going to be on there. Stuff that I've recorded with my son, Kojo, who is bad MD for like all Stormzy and all them guys, all the young guys, Jess Glynn, all the young artists. Kojo, my son, Kojo Samuels, is the best musical director in the business. I wish I could afford him. I can't afford it. And he's got a family. So I want my baby to like work with. He's just so loved and respected as
Yeah.
well. And he's doing a lot of things now, as well as doing music. He's doing all these events, like he did the Commonwealth Games. He did last New Year's Eve, produced a lot of that music. He's producing the music for this year's New Year's celebrations. He did the Eurovision Song Contest. I mean, he's
Fantastic.
incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I had a musical director like Kojo, but see, because I know how to do it myself, I kind of get stuck with doing everything,
Well,
you
there
know.
you go. Yeah.
And, and I want him to do his thing because we have a lot of stuff on this box set that wasn't released because nobody was interested in me at that time. He produced. There's two songs on the New Adventures, "I Believe" and "Hold On to Your Dreams." That Kojo, he produced those things when he was 16 in our living room on our 16 track. He cut his teeth at home on my 16 track, and he used to produce those guys, Damage, all those little young kids, and Jesse J, and who are
Wow.
those other little girls? I mean, he did all of that stuff. So he has a different thing. And at the time, I didn't want him to get caught up in not getting recognition because of me and my age. I wanted him to grow up with his peers and do his thing.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
he's done it, and he's just knocking it out of the park. Like he's just so lovely, and he's a great guy.
That's fantastic. I mean, you've
Yeah.
got an incredible amount of stuff going on. That's great. But good to hear that we've got lots of new stuff to look forward to. Lots and lots of new stuff to look forward to. And if you ever need to promote it, you're more than welcome to return back out to the ship as you did all those years ago.
So
With Tony
you
Blackburn.
guys are still out on the ship?
Well, once a month. Once a month, we go out to the ship and do a weekend on there. We do trips and everything. Do the shows from the studios on the ship. Yeah,
Well, hey, all I need is an invite.
you've got one. You've got an invite.
Hey, man, you guys give me an invitation. Yeah, I can go back. I promise I won't be sick.
I was going to say, as long as you're not
You know,
sick in the
I'll,
studio.
I'll take you. You know, you can take tablets. I got sense enough to take those kind of tablets and things. But and I think it's probably not the tugboat. How do you guys get out there now? How do you go? You gonna?
It's a
Is
bit
it?
more of a bit more glamorous than a tugboat.
Yeah, a
We've
bit
got a
more
tender
glamorous.
to go out there.
The little tugboats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot nicer than it would have been in the 60s, I promise. But oh, that's great. We'd love to have you out there. I can guarantee that. So I'll send something over if you want to.
Yeah, man, hook it up.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. That's a lovely place to end it there. But thank you so much for your time. The extra time we've basically done 2 interviews here with the whole
Oh,
thing
that's
cutting off.
good. You
But
can cut it all up, huh? To make
absolutely,
it up. Because I've just got so many stories. I could you know.
that's the
You know.
thing. Yeah, so many. I mean, we could go on for much longer as well. But as you mentioned, it's all in the book, Soul Survivor, and the
It's
new
all
music
in
now
the
too.
book
It's
and
all in the
more.
book. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you again for the time. Really appreciate you being here. And I hope it all goes well with the new music. And well, we'll see you out on the boat soon then.
All right. Thank you. I look forward to that.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
so
meet you
much.
here.
You too.
All
You
right.
too.
All right. Wonders of technology, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Lots of
Brilliant.
love.
You too.
God
Thank you
bless.
so much. Bye-bye.
Oh, you're
Bye.
welcome. Bye bye.